Hi everybody, Martin at Flicking Feathers again. Today I'm doing a steelhead stinger. I'm going to be doing a few steelhead flies because there's been a few requests for them. What I'm going to do is I'll be tying two of each, one before and then one on the video, and I'm going to stick them in a box and they'll be available to buy because I don't fish steelhead, and it's actually not something I got I don't have a lot of customers, in fact none. There's very few customers that regularly go for steelhead and buy steelhead flies off me. So I'm starting this. This is a 25mm partridge Waddington. I prefer the standard Waddington shank rather than the Senio's Intruders. I prefer the double shank. If you look, you can see there I've just come in and I've closed off the back loop as well. I just think it makes it a bit more secure, and I actually tie back to here anyway, giving me a wee bit more length in the shank. So the first thing is my Intruder loop, and I just measure these up. So the hook's coming back to about the end of just sitting near the back of where the wing will be, when you add the length of the hook in. And I pre-cut them and I mark it at the tie-in point so I can just easily pick it up and go. It's easier to measure them all. Same when I'm doing intruders, It's actually a very good system, something that I feel that British tyers could be getting involved in. The loop here and having like a replaceable hook. Although I suppose with a tube you've got the similar effect. I actually like to pull the wire in between the two shanks. See that there? For extra security when I'm tying these. And then lash it down. And that is going nowhere. Right. Then I'll come in. Watch, don't cut your thread. I cut that a bit closer. Don't worry about that. You just tie over it. It doesn't affect the security at all. It's still well gripped, and everything's getting tied over it. But what I do anyway, every time, I just come in and a wee bit of cement. Cement's non-adhesive, right? But it soaks in and it all sets together as one. And it does, it's non-adhesive, but it does give you some grip, So there we go. That will never come. You could not pull that out. No way you can exert the pressure to pull that out. So the first thing is I'm just going to take a bit of ice stub and UV fluorescent hot pink. I'm just going to dub a small ball of this at the back. This is just to help kick up the tail a wee bit. and also helps you to sort of mask. You can fill in the gap between the two, the return of the back eye and the shank. Right. I'm then going to just take some fluorescent pink floss, a good length. I'm going to double it a couple of times. You could use fluoro fibre or some kind of pink yarn. I like the sort of slight sheen of the floss. And what it is, just make sure they're a little bit better lined up. I'll have it where I sort of roughly want it to be. Take the tie-in down like the length of what's going to be the flat section of the body, then fold it back. Another turn just there. So about 2/3. And that could never, that's never going to move. And then just to taper it, just come in and use a nice wee taper. There you go. That's a sort of nice wee taper in that tail there. For the rib, you're using the rib to trap your palmered hackle, obviously, so something nice and strong. I'm using a medium copper wire. You could also use black, which would be quite nice with this colour scheme. I know some people like the Lady Gaga to be a bit darker than I'm tying it here. That's enough. A bit short. I would have just a wee waist piece there, but it's too short. So now some Waddington copper flat braid. For the rear section of the body. And again, tie this with your waist piece to the length of the body. It's got to at least go to where the flat section is going to be. And then take a full wrap right at the back. Make sure you're hard up against the tail and the butt there, and then you can wind forward, slightly overlapping turns. Make sure you get complete coverage. And I always wind a bit further forward than I actually need to, so that I've got a more secure tie-in. I just feel it's better. You know, there's no chance when you can see that's wrapped and then wrapped over. There's no chance that that's ever going to pull out. So the front section of the body is going to be some spectra flash dubbing. I dub it quite heavily so that I can brush it out into the hackle, and I'm just using this blue. The colour is just blue. There's no the colour code is this unusually, I suppose, standard blue. It's no any other, doesn't have any other name. And going forward, make sure and leave plenty of space at the front for tying in your hackle and wing. But get plenty on here. Make it too thick. Right, like you should feel that this is overdubbed because you're going to brush it quite aggressively to get it into to pull it out into the hackle. Right, so I mean that's a ridiculous big ball of dubbing at the moment, but it won't stay like that. There's a nice one. Hackle, the body hackle is going to be some pink Schlappen, and I always like to leave a couple of bits of the fluff, just like the first sort of fluffy marabou fibres, because they really move quite well. 2 or 3 turns and fold the stem back because it's quite thin. I mean, if it's thin enough, don't. If it's a thick stem, just discard it. Like that. Get hackle pliers in, and then I don't bother like pre-doubling it. I just fold it as I wind. And I like a full turn at the head before I start going back. You're looking ideally about 4 or 5 turns. Oh, hackle pliers are a wee bit slippy there. Try that again. Sometimes actually it goes better if something like that happens the next time the hackle's already pre-shaped. It just sort of helps it to sit a bit better. 3, 4, that's perfect. 5. And then take your rib in the opposite direction, which is still winding away from you because you're going forward instead of back, and take a full turn all the way around, and then just start to bring it forward in even turns. And you should go quite quick. If you go reasonably quickly, you'll trap fewer fibres. Pull it quite tight into this dubbing as well. It looks a bit chaotic at the moment, but it's all going to come together. When you get to the front, I like again another just wrap, full wrap. Cross your thread, bend the wire 90 degrees, and tie it down. Just bend and break the wire, gives you a nice clean cut, and then just snap away the. Oh, I've not snapped it there. There you go. Snap away the hackle stem. Again, that's nice and clean. And the full wrap's got it nicely secured. It'll make your fly last a bit longer. So I'm going to take my Velcro. Just watch your thread. Don't hit your thread with the Velcro or you'll burst it. Give this a good brush, like really get it, pull that blue, because it's quite flashy as well. It's nice, it's sort of. And don't worry about your hackle either, it looks like you're ruining your hackle, but it can take it. I'll do that for now. If you're really concerned about your hackle, you can kind of bring it back with a toothbrush. See, it starts to sort of open up and fluff up a bit more again. But as soon as it's fished, it will just come back. So wing. First thing is about a couple of strands of flash. I'm using some fuchsia pink sparkle hair. This is from Sybai. Maybe, well, you don't want too much, a few strands is plenty. That's like 3 or 4 strands there. Tie that in there just slightly longer than the tail. 2 turns, fold it back, and just trim it so that it's uneven. Maybe a bit long. Yeah. You always want your flash to be slightly different lengths so it doesn't clump together. Then some fox. This is Pro Sport Fisher. Was it Pro Marble Fox or something I'm using? You could use raccoon. That's good as well. Arctic fox is fine. Pink. Right. And your first, when you're tying these, right, it's a steelhead stinger, but it's basically a Scandinavian style fly, right? It's basically that sort of wing style, but tied in a Waddington. I like to always sort of brush out my, you see how it's opening it out and making it really puffy. Makes it move much better, and take some of the worst under fur out. The first bunch should be your thickest, and it should be the heaviest, the most fur. That helps you get that drop form. So I'm going to take that back to, I'd like the tips to be just sort of in line. That's maybe a bit much. That's better. I'd like the tips to be just sort of in line with the back of the loop, because the other, and then sort of flatten it, right? Just use your nail and just sort of do that. It will look a bit untidy at this stage, but it makes for a much nicer fly. Just get that well trimmed and nice and close. And if you think about how a fish is going to see it, the fish is not going to see it from the side, it's going to see it sort of from behind and below. So that's why you want that sort of wider profile, and that's the Waddington helps you spread it rather than just that single shank. You don't get the same width, and you don't get it's a bit more difficult to get the nice drop form. So next is some blue. I'm using a light sort of Kingfisher blue. You could use darker if you liked. I know some guys like it to be a darker blue. Slightly thinner bunch. Same again. Oops, picking up a bit. Brush out the underfur, so you just get the nice long mobile stuff. Then to the top, opens it right out. This is going to be slightly longer, so you come back to about there, that's fine. Just trim that before I tie it, just to help keep the head small. Now it's important here, right, take the thread back. It's important here that you tie directly on top. You don't want it creeping forward, because then you end up with like visible thread, and that's no use. I mean, you could put a hackle between if you were going to move forward, but I'm not going to. I'm not adding a hackle here. I just want a doubled wing. Right. So you see there the tie-in point. It's directly above, so there's got to be no exposed thread. Right, when I tie in the next hackle, that's exactly there, so everything's covered, and it actually makes your fly more, it makes your fly neater for a start, and it also makes it more durable, because there's no exposed thread to burst. Right, so flash for the blue section is angel hair and turquoise. Just a few strands, like, you know, I don't know, it's impossible to count this stuff. It's probably 8 or 10 maybe, and just position it on top. Spread it out a wee bit, use your thumbnail so it's nicely dispersed, and then just fold it back and tidy up. And again, it's obviously way too long there, so just push your scissors into it and it will taper it nicely. Sort of curled up there, but I'll just get my velcro into it. Just blend it into the wing, I'll straighten it out. And then just before I tie in the over wing, I'm going to go for a little bit of a bit more sparkle here. This is copper. Well, it's actually fiery brown is the colour code on this. It's copper tinsel. It's a bit like polar flash with like a sort of fine black nylon-y fibre sort of wrapped around some of it. So it's light copper, a wee bit darker at other bits. And there's actually a couple of strands of like a reddish copper in here as well. And just the same, tie it in, hold it quite loosely so that you can get a good, just let the thread take it across the top half of the shank. Right, so it's nicely distributed. And then just fold it back, press it with your finger to open it up, and then tie over it. And that's you nice and neat tie in, and leave some of that quite long. See that there? That's going back there. I mean, the hook will be just sort of hanging here, so it's just there'll be just a few fibres just going beyond the hook point. Hackle. Battery's getting a bit low, better hurry up. Hackle I'm using is blue guinea, quite a big one. So prepare that by exposing the wee tip of the feather, trimming it off, tie it in. See there, that's cheating on me a wee bit, it's slipped. I don't know what it thinks it's playing it. There we go, that's better. And then just wind this forward, just fold it as you go. And you can double it with your scissors, I know some guys like doing that. Just keep going. Find me a bit. plenty in there. You could also these look quite nice if you use like the ostrich marabou, like the ostrich spay plumes. They're really nice. So we'll tie that off. Right, come over your waist piece. Take everything going forward of the eye and sweep it back. There you go. And then the last bit is just some black marble fox, thinnest bunch of the three. Give it a quick brush, line it up. It's the thinnest and the longest. Right. Pinch and loop. 3 turns will hold it, spread it across the top half of the wing. There, that sort of darkens it down a bit. Trim that close. Try to keep your thread turns nice and tight. Nice and secure. And then the last thing, and this is optional, I'm using some, these are the fake jungle cock, printed jungle cock, from, what are these? No, these are the Sybai ones, I know, the Pro Sport Fisher. I mean, I have no problem with using actual jungle cock, as it's usually just bought. I mean, they're all bred now, it's no longer like an endangered bird that you're killing out in the wild. They're captive bred jungle cocks, but they sent me some of these, so I'm just trying them out. They look okay, I mean, they're quite good, quite easy to use, and they're consistent. That's about the only advantage over the traditional jungle cock. They're just the sheer consistency, every one of them's the same, you know. You're sort of trapped by the sizing a bit more than you would be with a traditional, or a natural jungle cock, I should say. But depends on the flies you're tying. You know, you can probably cover it. So we'll build up a nice little head. Come in, stick on a couple of whip finishes. One. Always whip finish twice. I mean, these flies, especially if you're fishing them in a sinking head and they're done deep, you know, they could be bouncing off rocks and stuff. So there you go, 2 whip finishes. And the last thing to do is just to finish the head with some varnish. I usually give them like 3 coats. I don't like that. See that there? I've got a loose loop somehow. Just cover up. I mean, it's got to be varnished 3 times anyway. No, don't like it. I don't like that at all. So I'm just going to cover it with. This is great, this Revis thread though, it's so thin, you can just come in. I don't know what happened there actually. There, we'll just untie the lot of it, the last of that, pull it back a bit to save the bulk. I mean, sometimes, oh, there's a step somewhere on the head, that's what's causing it. I can't. It must be my blind side. Let me see this. No, I don't see that. I don't see why it's what the step was. There's a tiny step somewhere that I can't. It's so small I can't see it, but it's causing the thread to slip. I think I've covered it. I don't feel it anymore. He spoke too soon. It's just at the front. I'll just finish up the back here, and that'll prevent any of that becoming a problem. There we go. So that's the Lady Gaga stinger. You could then add your hook. I always put octopuses on this style of fly. I do sometimes tie them in sort of salmon colours, like for guys in Europe. Here's quite a large headed Monroe colour. It's a bit bigger for fishing the big rivers. It's just another option. Like, I really think that I mean, you see sometimes guys going, oh, steelhead fly, salmon fly. Like, if a steelhead will take this, it will most certainly take a temple dog, you know, and vice versa with Atlantic salmon. Like, these are just flashy attractors type things. It's full of movement. There's no reason that you need to be trapped by whatever species it's sort of originally designed for. So there's the first coat of varnish over that head. We'll get another 2. So we end up with a nice, neat, glossy head. And there's, you can see there the other, well, sort of focus. You can see there the other one. It's had 3 coats, nice and shiny. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up below and remember to subscribe for more videos. Last thing to do is just add the hook. Just using an octopus. Push it in, push the wire through the eye, then pass the loop over the hook, pull it back, and there you go. And it's up to you if you want to hook up or down. So, thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope that was useful. Like I said, remember to like and subscribe, leave any comments you have below, and just keep coming back, keep watching. Thanks, guys. Bye.